Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the banks of the Caspian Sea. Welcome to Baku, where we find ourselves in the capital of Azerbaijan. Welcome in once more. It is round 3 of Tier 3 as we continue on our journey through Season 6 here in IRL. Should be a phenomenal race. Baku, always a race of absolute chaos. Will we see weather take effect? Will it cause just as much chaos? That remains to be determined. And now is the part of the stream where I get to verbally abuse anybody. We have an Aston Martin who will just simply be ignored. So I don't know which one that is. It looks like it is the Aston Martin of Hiex. So he's just gonna be ignored. We're on. This is race night 3. This is race 4 of me telling you to turn your telemetry on. So you're just not going to exist to me tonight, and that's all I'll say on it. Anyways, nevertheless, life is up and underway. A McLaren is doing just the same. I couldn't tell you exactly who that McLaren is. I'm going to say it's Zonut, who's on his alt. So Zonut, go ahead and turn that telemetry on there, Chief. I see you just pulling out of the pit lane now. Go ahead and do that for us. That would be incredible. Until then, again, you will be ignored. You decided to get yourself suspended. That will not help your cause in any way, shape, or form. We will go ahead and get lap data. We will go ahead and get the track map up and underway. It does appear as though a Haas is leading us out. That is the Haas of Mo, who is just now coming through the section of track that just about everybody fears on this circuit. Heading up through the castle with a car can get rather unsettled on the exit. You have to really make sure you are under control of that car and have the grip in order to accelerate out of the corner. Nevertheless, this track, one of the longer ones on the circuit, if not, it's definitely up there with one of the longest tracks on the circuit. I believe Spa still holds that record, if not Vegas nowadays. It used to be Spa, that's for sure. But nevertheless, the Haas of Mo on his first flying lap of the evening that he is about to start, getting on to this long pit straight. DRS so powerful around this track, a track compared to others, especially our last 2 tracks, where coming on pole may not be the key to success here. Sometimes it's just a battle of survival to see it to the finish line. Nevertheless, Mo is going to look to start off our evening. That rear wing open and wide on that Haas, ready. Release the drag as it clamps down once more, heading into turn 3. He just catching a little bit of that inside wall, keeping the front wing intact though, as the Haas continues through this twisty end to the first sector. Just now, as he's going to go ahead and call that a lap. So yeah, I think he collected maybe a little bit of the wall, and nevertheless has gone ahead and said that that is all his flying lap is going to be. He should be able to go ahead and do yet another lap on those tires. We'll go ahead and see who else we can pick up. The McLaren of Tuesday looks as though he is next to cross the line. And for a team that found so much success last season through their driver edge, they have yet, through the first 2 races, to really replicate such success. The only team in Tier 3 yet to score a point, and Tuesday is going to be really struggling to do that with exits to turn 1 like that. But again, it is battle of survival around this track. You make one mistake, you will find yourself in the wall, whether it's just your front wing, whether it's your entire car, and you will be lucky to take all 4 wheels along with you. He's handled that corner certainly much better. And just big slide right there as the car really got unsettled on the curb, but McLaren's still pushing on. They really could use a good result tonight down at McLaren to just find a way to get involved in things as Pigeon sets the first time of the evening, a 130.7. Dylan next across the line. Newly promoted Brick Brown over the line too, getting that early promotion from Tier 4. The Kick-Saubas are loving life at the moment as he goes ahead and sets that 139.8. Kick-Sauba likely to have a fairly fearsome duo for the rest of this Tier 3 season with Arrow Knight. And his struggles along the way, but he will certainly be saying it's got it in him to be able to make things happen. As that is a Red Bull out of the session on a cooldown lap. So Shermer, for as good of a start as he's had to this season, is going to find himself in the wall and likely having a lot to do in order to get his way through the field. Tuesday across the line of 140.9. Really long way to go. There is a little bit of a traffic jam heading into just the end of the first sector, and a track where you don't normally see traffic jams. It's a very wide open track, so both Aston Martins, the Mercedes, are having to navigate what is the tightest section on the track, but it doesn't appear as though anybody on a lap mark continuing his good form to start this season. There are not enough positive words to be said about the Williams driver here through the first two races. It didn't really pan out for him last week in Spain with the early incidents, the missed strategy, but the pace is there for the Williams man. He knows that he has podiums in him, can challenge the absent Capex for the Drivers' Championship in Tier 3, something he would love to get his hands on. Next to come across the line, I do believe, is one of the Ferraris, if we can go ahead and jump on board with them. So they just now, this is Frenny starting, I believe, his first flying lap out of turn 2. Does well not to collect the wall there. His teammate just a few corners ahead. You do wonder, do those with teammates look to help each other out on the straight? Could the slipstream down the main straight, as powerful as it is, prove a difference here in qualifying? Who will work together on their outlaps to give their teammate a tow? Who will look maybe coordinate with their teammate to give themselves a tow? That will be the big question, especially for the likes of Ferrari. For Red Bull with Pigeon up in second, he's going to be alienated with his teammate finding the wall earlier in this session just a moment ago to head into the top 10. Alpine really needing a good result here in this race. The two Aston Martins finding themselves side by side in 6th and 7th. The two Kick-Saubas locking out the second row of the grid. As things stand, still 10 minutes to go in qualifying. We have a very long ways to go. Many more laps to be put in. 7 comes across the line here, promotes himself into second position. So a very strong lap time there from the Ferrari. His teammate is headed through now, and I do believe Frenny's got a little bit of wing damage, so that is not going to be what Ferrari needed on this time around. But he's got a Aston Martin, I do believe, of NASCAR Freak that is looking to promote himself up the field. Does just that. Into the top 3 goes NASCAR Freak. The 139's highly popular amongst the top 6 as things stand. Nevertheless, we carry on into qualifying. Under 10 minutes to go now. We'll go ahead and see who is working on a lap. I do believe Mo down in 14th might be doing just that. Is right as I see that he promotes himself in the Haas into 6th position, so firmly into the top 10. Also finding the 139s is the Haas. So if you want to be in the top 10, you at least have to find the 139. Could we maybe see a 138? That will be the question. Likes of Mark 7. I'm sure Frenny would like to do just the same as we carry on around this track here in Baku. We don't know, obviously, the forecast. Could rain be potentially on the horizon for our race session? That will be a question that is asked of a lot of the drivers. We'll go ahead and see who might go ahead and be on the lap. I think we might have just hit a lull of in-laps, out-laps. There are a significant amount of out-laps currently taking place. The likes of Brick as well, who's just now left the session. So not the way that he would want to make his first qualifying appearance. Nevertheless, there's a few, the likes of NASCAR Freak, I believe. Into the pit lane goes the Aston Martin. The McLaren of Tuesday is just now coming across the line to begin his second lap of the session. So he would certainly enjoy finding the 139s and really wedging himself up into the conversation of not just the top 10, but the top 5 is where this McLaren would love to see his papaya car come the end of qualifying. Else can we find some action? I do believe NASCAR Freak in the pit lane. We might just have a Williams of Mark that is going to be starting his out lap. It's actually finishing up his out lap. About to start his flying lap is the Williams. So, can the current pole sitter find any more time? It looks like he's just about to start this lap. He's going to go for a second warm-up lap by the looks of things. So, interesting to keep our eyes on that one. Does he elect to go for that second warm-up lap, just trying to get those tires in the window? We'll go ahead and take a look at what is currently the trailing Ferrari, who isn't quite where he would like to be. And here we go. Here's the teamwork that we mentioned earlier. The two Ferraris giving each other a little bit of a tow. 7 just maybe trying to help his teammate find maybe an extra 10th or 2 here and there. And the shorter of the two straights, nevertheless, Rennie can make all the difference here if he can clear the Williams of Mark that is currently in front of him, trying to keep his tires warm. Mark doing well to get out of the way there. Frenny, fastest first sector for that Ferrari, so he would certainly love to join his teammate somewhere in the top 5, if not higher up. Coming through the castle section now, does so with confidence. Into the right, immediately turns into the left, rocketing down the hill once more. Can Frenny navigate what is left of this final sector with ease? He looks like the Ferrari is doing just that. Can he navigate the curbs? Does so very nicely, avoids that outside wall as many tend to find it. Rides that curb a little bit. This looks like it's about to be a very, very strong lap from the Ferrari here around the streets of Baku with just over 5 minutes to go in qualifying. He would certainly love to find his way up into contention. Where will this Ferrari find himself? It is going to be pole position provisionally for Frenny. And with 5 minutes to go, he might just have enough time to get around the track, throw some more tires on, and reassert that time. As things stand, the two Ferraris are doing very, very nicely. Mark is in the pit lane. 7 is going to avoid the outside wall, and maybe Frenny is going to give the tow to his teammate that he got on his flying lap. The Ferraris working nicely in tandem here is, oh, well, that didn't quite work out. 7 planting that front wing in the wall. Very lucky to keep all 4 tires on that Ferrari. You go with that much force, and very, very lucky to keep all 4 tires on that car. As we've got a few people in and out of the session, we'll go ahead and just lob Dylan yet another invite. Go ahead and fight through the timing tower here. Yeah, there he is. Magical news. He can go ahead and come back. I imagine he is looking for said invite. Go ahead and see. Yep, Brick's back in the game. Magical news, sensational stuff. Where else We potentially find some improved lap times. Likes of NASCAR Freak seems to be moving a little bit quicker in that Aston Martin. 6/10 back of pole at the moment. Really the only man so far to touch the 138s. Will we see more drivers find their way into that time? We are just about to find out. He's going to get a nice little tow from the Ferrari ahead of him. That will certainly help his time, but not helping it enough. Into the pit lane goes the Aston Martin, so interesting decision there. The Mercedes of Jules might be somewhat stranded through the cancel section. He is improving his time, but missing a significant chunk of that front wing on that works Mercedes, so not something that he would like to see with under 3 minutes to go in the session. And it looks like Mo comes across the line to start what is, not going to be his final flying lap. That is a spin from the Haas. He got a little bit too much on the outside. He needs to be very careful here to not get disqualified. Does a very good job in avoiding just that, but mistake from the Haas will likely cost him some time here. He's going to have to stay out on that worn set of tires. Go ahead and see who else could be on a quick lap as Mo looks to just start again, reset the mind with under 2 minutes to go, and make sure that he is nice and set. What will certainly be his final flying lap of the evening before we head into the race. As Jules is out of this race, into the pit lane goes the Mercedes, and he will say, go ahead and start this one at the back. Not always the worst thing around this track. It's definitely one of those where you could easily get sent into turn one, and that will be the end of your race rather quickly, starting from the back. Both the Red Bull and the Mercedes as things stand. Nevertheless, the two Ferraris, first and third, split by the Williams of Mark, running in seventh, seeing themselves in great position as things stand. And for the reigning Constructors champions, this will be exactly the situation they will have wanted here this evening. They've picked up a healthy amount of points over the first two races. They will be looking to do some further damage here tonight to really assert their lead at the top of the Constructors table. Last Tuesday comes across the line, fifth fastest for the McLaren. A huge improvement there for Tuesday. That is what they needed here this evening. He might be trying to go for another lap as he makes contact with the outside wall there. The rear wing opens, signaling that he might just be trying to get himself into the 138s as well. Where else on track is the inside wall, now the outside wall for the McLaren, so this lap likely going in the bin as even more contact with the wall, front end plate spinning off. There you have it. That is likely the McLaren done with the session. Ted has called it a day in the pit lane, also electing just to start near the back of the field. Where else can we see on track? Pigeon just now coming through the end of the final sector. Can this Red Bull shock the top five, making his way? He's gaining time on his lap. Can Pigeon find his way even into the top three? Where will the Red Bull find himself? He finds himself staying in sixth position. 139.7, must have lost time on the exit of some of the final corners. Meanwhile, Mo is not improving on his time. That Haas will have to settle at best for ninth position. Can Mark, who's coming down the hill now, he is improving on his time, but that connection with the wall might just hurt him just enough. Still, a fastest middle sector for the Williams as he rockets through some of the fastest corners on the calendar. The left, then the right, one more right until it's pedal all the way down for the Williams. Can Mark find 0.3 of a second in his lap to top the Ferrari for pole position? And he can do just that. Mark is on provisional pole. Can Seven do anything about it? He's gone fastest in the middle sector. Is a 138.6 in the bag for the Ferrari. and his straight line speed only. NASCAR Freak sends himself into the top 3 as well. Can 7 find the time needed to get on pole position? Not quite. 4th fastest for the Ferrari. So the 2 Ferraris will line up right by each other. Brick into the pit lane. 10th best will be his Tier 3 debut. Not a bad performance from the Kick Sauber, all things considered. But nevertheless, that is your grid. A good performance from the McLarens and the Ferraris as well. The Aston Martins making their presence known in the top 10 as well. We've got Shermer, who had such good form coming into this race, now start in 14th. Just about to get ready to roll here around the streets of Baku. That was the qualifying order. I hope you saw it on your screen, because I certainly didn't. Nevertheless, we are just about ready to go. Strategies could be all over the place here. They could be, you could see really all 3 compounds at some point in this race. The one stop extremely viable around this track. This track doesn't really hurt your tires all that much, but nevertheless, you will be certainly looking to maximize your compound. Soft compound tire last more than 3 or 4 laps. I'm sure anybody starting on that tire will look and ask that question. Will the hard compound tire reign supreme, as it sometimes does around this track? Will the medium tire prove the most viable race tire here this evening? We've got 20 plus laps ahead of us to answer that question. There is the countdown, and we are just about ready to get underway here. Coast of the Caspian Sea. It's lights out and away we go. The Williams of Mark gets a good start, tries to move to the inside line to cover off the Ferrari of Freddie. He shows him to the inside. There's there's a Red Bull at the back who was almost riding on top. They're going 3 wide, heading into turn 2. That's not quite advisable for some. Nevertheless, it's Mark that leads the 2 Ferraris. Aero Knight got swallowed up in all of the collisions Tuesday, and NASCAR Freak losing out at the start of this race. Nevertheless, most of the field on the medium tire. Collision at the wall for Mark there, but everybody has just about kept all 4 tires and their wings intact. You see there, this front 2 really already starting to break away. 7 has fallen almost already a second back of the field as they head through the castle section for the first time of 26 here this evening. A few of the hard runners as well will be looking to make an impact in their race. Brick is also starting on the hard compound tire inside the top 10, as is Aero Knight, who's going to have to defend early on from the McLaren of Tuesday as he collects the wall of the Kick Sauber, heading down the hill. A few more collecting the wall on the entrance to the corner. The McLaren having a little look at the Sauber, electing not to go this time. The straight line speed on that McLaren could prove to be the benefit that he has to get past this neon green Sauber. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lead. Mark is going to have to early on defend from the Ferrari, defending the inside, but even further to the inside goes the Ferrari. Freddie looking to make the move for the lead. They're wheel to wheel exiting the corner. Freddie has the lead of this race, but only just heading into turn 2. They make a little more contact. It's Ferrari, Williams Ferrari, to begin lap number 2. Aero Knight is still having a little defense of Now NASCAR Freak is Tuesday. Lost out at some point. The McLaren getting passed by the lead Aston Martin, but Aero Knight just avoiding the wall on the exit of turn 3 there, and just doing the same. It's wheel-to-wheel action between NASCAR Freak and Tuesday, getting passed by not one but two Aston Martins. The McLaren dropping like a rock through the field. That medium tire just not working so far as his teammate gets past as well, and that gap from 4th down to 5th is already well more than a second. 1.5 seconds from 7 to Aero Knight, and NASCAR Freak has fallen some ways away from the kick Sauber as well. Meanwhile, out front, Mark is having to do everything possible to keep hold of the lead Ferrari out front, and a collision with the wall may have helped him do just that. Frenny just having a little touch of the wall on the exit of that previous corner. He's found a way to just keep it on the track as things stand, but Mark will get the courtesy of DRS as they head now rocketing towards turn 1. 7 might actually be having a little look at the Williams as well. You see him gaining, still too far back is the Ferrari on this occasion, but a little bit wide is the Williams, and 7 may treat that as an invitation to maybe attack into turn 3 as they all keep it tidy through there. Ferrari, Williams, Ferrari is your top 3. Meanwhile, if no moves are made here, doesn't look like they will be, NASCAR Freak has plenty of company for his spot in 5th. As you see there, McLaren and Aston Martin getting a little bit squirrely with each other, but nevertheless, NASCAR Freak leading this train. The 2 Aston Martins, the 2 McLarens, all battling it out for 5th position. You see there a hard tire right in the middle of all of it. Mark has had a moment somewhere as he finds himself over a second back of Freddy now, releasing the Ferrari out of the DRS range, and 7, as we continue to go around this middle sector, will certainly have second place on his mind as we rocket down the hill of Baku once more. Mark really pushing almost a little too much. A little sidestep there from the Williams as 7 has maybe had a moment as well. Is that gap over a second now? He's going to look to really close that in. We'll keep an eye on those times as he's just now regained the 1 second gap, and really closing is the Ferrari here. He is gaining even before that rear wing can be opened. He's having a look at the Williams. Which way will it be? 4-7. It's to the outside. He's going to have to do it the hard way. Might just have the move done before the corner. Does have the move done before the corner. The 2 Ferraris, 1st and 2nd. Still, Mark having a little look at a return move, but nothing brewing just yet. But he might just be able to regain that position with the help of the drag reduction system. Doesn't look like it's going to happen this time around. Too far back is the Williams. Having to settle for 3rd is our man who started in 2nd. There is the Red Bull of Pigeon having a little look down the inside of the McLaren, and he doesn't quite have the move done just yet. Tuesday holding on only momentarily as the 2 Red Bulls are really trying to push past the McLarens. This is the battle for 7th place, currently held up by the lead McLaren on that hard compound tire. Looking to race his race later on. Aero Knight as well on that hard tire is just trying to get into the DRS range of Mark, who has had a really difficult few opening laps here around this back street. That is Pigeon getting a little bit too loose, losing the back end and losing part of his front wing. And losing almost a tire there is the Red Bull. Causing collisions now is Pigeon, and it's really not a place he wants to be any longer. Likely into the pit lane there for that Red Bull. Meanwhile, Aero Knight is right on the heels of the Williams. Is he going to look to make the move early? He might just do so. He's going to have the DRS as easy as you'd like for the kick Sauber. Meanwhile, all this means for the two Ferraris up front is that they are going to be able to coast away in this race. Almost 2 seconds is the gap from the two Ferraris leading the way to the kick salva behind. Nevertheless, Pigeon into the pit lane. That damaged too much to stay on track for. Tuesday is going to have a look at the other Red Bull, who's out of battery, doesn't have DRS. Is he going to have a little look Tuesday? Not this time around. Staying behind the McLaren and taking that corner very nicely, but get a little out of sorts on the exit. That will certainly cost him time here on lap number 5. And I do believe everything has just settled down ever so slightly. But as I say that, NASCAR Freak has a McLaren in his rear view mirror. He's going to get nudged by a McLaren, sent spinning is the Aston Martin of NASCAR Freak, and that will certainly be looked at later on. I don't think many good things are going to be said in the chat about that move later. A little push to pass. Not in the way that you would typically have it, but nevertheless, the Aston Martin now having to reside in 11th, outside of the top 10. Story now is the two Ferraris are simply breaking away, and you wonder if they might just go ahead and swap and feed each other the DRS as here you see 7 take the lead over his teammate, close that rear wing. 7 will get the DRS as well, so teamwork being shown at Ferrari as Shermer has a little bit of company for what is currently 7th position. Tuesday trying to make amends for a poor start to this race. And he have a move at the Red Bull. It's going to have to come at the end of this straight. The Red Bull collecting a little bit of the wall, but Tuesday not getting the drive he needed. He's going to be able to open that rear wing, but likely not close enough to be able to do anything about it. As things stand, the Ferraris are in firm control of this race. The only thing that you might have to question is how they handle the strategy here, because what they don't want to do is double stack into the pit lane. That would be worst case scenario for the Scuderia. As we head here on board with the Red Bull of Shermer, who's chasing down the Aston Martin and McLaren battling in front of him. As still got the McLaren of Tuesday, Ford Company, who's looking to overtake him for P7 here on lap number 6. But meanwhile, the two Ferraris really looking to try and figure out a way that works best for the both of them. And it may just come down to who feels as though their tires are going off, who feels as though they really need to go into the pit lane first. As Sugar there really collected some of the wall. Tuesday went wide. In the meantime, that might just prove some reprieve for the Red Bull heading into the tail end of the final sector, rocketing down the straight for the 6th time here this evening. Can Tuesday and the McLaren have a little look at the Red Bull? It doesn't look like it's going to happen this time around, as Tuesday currently now into the pit lane. So there goes the McLaren, calling it 6 laps really on the medium tire, onto a fresh set of hards on his Papaya kart, and back out onto the track, likely to come out behind Brick Brown, who had the greatest start to his life in Tier 3, but currently in P11. He'll be looking to continue to improve on that. His teammate, however, has caught the two Ferraris and may just be looking to provide some sort of parity to this race, as 7 has dropped back just a little bit. Ferrari may be just preparing for those stops, but the hard tire, certainly the compound to be on as things stand. Zero Knight, just with a few scruffy corners, is going to lose out there, as he was within 1 second prior. No longer is in range of the two Ferraris, but Is there a way that he can catch them? Deploying the battery, certainly there is the kick Sauber to find a way. 7 looks like he may also be doing the same. Freddy may be dropping back just to help out to make sure his teammate doesn't get swamped with the drag reduction system, as this kick Sauber is really rocketing through now. Those hard tires are alive and well here on lap number 7. What will the Ferraris do? How can the strategy work in their favor? No moves to the pit lane just yet, but Arrow Knight getting closer and closer. Another car into the pit lane. That is the Williams of Mark, who is into the pit lane, conceding P4 at the moment. Likely to see a few more in the pits as well. There's the trailing Aston Martin. As the other Williams into the pit lane as well. So both Williams getting called in here. They were far enough away not to double stack easy as you'd like there from the Williams crew, but they almost weren't ready for him, as this could be a rather slow stop from the Williams team. I don't think Dylan will be appreciating his team just being behind on his stop. Losing time there was the Williams, so I'm sure there's some things to be said in the chat afterwards as to how that pit stop really went wrong. Down at Williams, it looked like it was going to be fine, but nevertheless a slow stop for the trailing Williams. Ted now in P5, but has the Red Bull of Shermer for company in 6, but those medium tires probably not feeling their best anymore. Many have already ditched the yellow striped tire for the tire that the Alpine is currently on. You can see just the difference as we head through one of the faster sectors on this track that features a few corners. The hard compound tire really just proving its difference here on lap number 8. And meanwhile, there are some severe gaps really beginning to form. The two Ferraris have simply coasted away from the field, as there you see Frenny just giving his teammate lead once more. The two Ferraris, I think, are just going to play this one out and win this one for the team. No drivers' championship aspirations almost by the seams of things for these two. But nevertheless, as Arrow Knight may have just had a huge collision with the wall. And yeah, missing a part of that front wing is the kick Sauber. So the only challenger here this evening to the Ferrari dominance is now lost a part of his car. So that will certainly not be helping him. We'll monitor the progress of Mark in the Williams. He making inroads into the time of the two Ferraris up front. He was ways back when he went into the pit lane, but nevertheless, he certainly going to have to find a way to continue to make this potential undercut count, as the Red Bull of Pigeon is the latest car in his sights. So this little gaggle of traffic currently for P7, containing Brick in the kick Sauber, the Aston Martin as well, Tuesday in the McLaren. Pigeon and now Mark is looking to latch on to the back of this train, as Pigeon is just having to fight through maybe a little bit of dirty air and some older tires. As he, yeah, there you go, spins it into the wall. It didn't look overly confident from the Red Bull as he spins on his own. Got the power down too soon. The grip level's not there that he needed. Likely yet another trip into the pit lane for the Red Bull, as he just about has an incident with Dylan, who's going to be clamoring to get ahead, as there goes Frenny into the pit lane. So Ferrari pulling the trigger on their two drivers up front. Arrow Knight is now in the lead of this race. 7 may have had a moment at some point, as he is now looking at the rear wing of the kick Sauber, so we're not entirely sure what happened there. Meanwhile, we have mentioned that the Williams of Mark may be making inroads into the times down at Ferrari. He's doing just that and having a little bit of a struggle to get out of that corner is the Ferrari of 7. And those rear tires is Pigeon. 10-second time penalty. I would imagine we're likely going to see a retirement from the Red Bull. That is a frustration penalty if I have ever seen one. Into the pit lane goes the Red Bull, as is the Haas. fresh medium tires, it looks like, for the American outfit. But crucially, Frenny has come back out on track ahead of the Red Bull of Shermer. So fresh hard tires, used medium tires, he's likely to be able to pull away with no issues. See with just how much command of that car that he has headed through the castle section. And it's all to play for now between these two, as Frenny and Seven are likely going to look to go to the end of the race. As Brick is going to have a look at the Aston Martin ahead. And he find a way to make an impact here in his first race after being promoted from the bottom tier. What can he do to secure even more points for Kick Sauber as Aero Knight, the race leader, into the pit lane? 7 following the Kick Sauber as well. Decisions to be made for both. It's the hard tire for 7, the hard tire for Aero Knight, and a wing change as well for the race leader. So there's 7 in the background who's going to go ahead, overtake the Kick Sauber in the pits. Ted now leading this race, but who was our race leader, you see there in the background, gaining very quickly, is the Ferrari of Frenny, but just dropping out momentarily. So Ted, having started on these hard tires and having a little bit of a struggle to get out of that corner, the rears might not be cooperating as they once were, is just under threat now from the Ferrari, going to be easily passed on the corner exit. You see the difference in grip there between the Ferrari and the Alpine. What will Alpine do? How long are they going to be willing to leave their guy out here and get the medium tire on him later in the race? Ted, maybe knowing that his race will come at the tail end of the 26 laps, look to just hang on a little bit longer, around lap 15, lap 16, and look to take the medium tire to the end. Questions being asked of the rookie is Dylan out of the session, and that is a full safety car. And right as we were saying that some of these on the hards were maybe just asking themselves the question of when I need to go in, that question looms even larger now. Does Ted have the confidence to go in and take mediums to the end from this distance? A very difficult task, a very difficult decision from the Alpine on the horizon. What will he do? Into the pit lane goes the Alpine, into the pit lane as well goes the Aston Martin, and Frenny as well into the pit lane. So Ferrari pitting their man again, fresh hard tires onto the Ferrari. Plenty of drivers into the pit lane. The 2 McLarens not into the pit lane. So assuming the lead of this race as things stand, the McLaren 1-2, but for how long will this last as our first safety car of the evening takes place here on lap number 12. Plenty of others into the pit lane as well. We mentioned Frenny doing just the same. Ted, there you have it, the medium tires on that Alpine. How far can he make those last? He will certainly be looking to get those to the end. If another safety car can save him, biggest loser in this instance has to be the Williams of Mark, having tried to go for the massive undercut, got caught up in traffic, and who was once racing for the lead of this race, now residing with the fastest lap, albeit down in 8th position for Williams. You have a ping in the Discord. We will go ahead and look at what that might be. It is not for I, so there you have it. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and look to see what else is taking place. Let's see here. We've got Mark on the hards. Fastest lap for Williams. Shermer behind him. Maybe a bit of reprieve for the Red Bull. And probably both Red Bulls are going to be lucky here because they have found a way to just make some inroads back into this race and find a way to just bring not just one but two their cars back into the context of this race. Pigeon, after having a couple of incidents, that big spin that we saw a couple laps ago, finding himself with a bit of salvation here. This safety car really rescuing his race in what could be a double points finish, a whole hefty amount of points for Red Bull. They have gotten off to a very good start. Both drivers, respectively, have gotten off to a very good start here. I don't believe Pigeon was with us last time out around the Barcelona circuit, but his performance in Austria, Scherberg, with a performance I think that surprised many of us in both of their first races here in Tier 3, after getting promoted from Tier 4, really showing off their pace, and Red Bull has faith in them to go ahead and get it done when they need to. Meanwhile, going ahead and checking out a few things here. As life is good at the moment for everything going up. Let's see here. And check my Discord messages one time. It says I have a ping somewhere. I have no idea from where, but I am looking. I don't have a ping anywhere, so nevertheless, I will carry on with my evening. But we have now eclipsed full half race distance here around the streets of the Azerbaijani capital. Lap 13 under safety car, our first of the evening, and I don't believe we got one last week around Spain. I believe we got a VSC, but nevertheless, our first full safety car in quite a while, and there you have it. The track no longer yellow. Safety car in this lap. The two McLarens out front really throwing what I'm sure is a wrench and a whole host of plans for some of the other drivers. The likes of Seven will need to clear the two McLarens that didn't pit under the safety car rather quickly, as Brick gets a 10-second time penalty. He must have hit Shermer at some point. That is not one that he's going to want to see, but there goes the lead McLaren of Tuesday. We're back racing once more. What moves can be made across the line? Looks like Arrow Knight and Seven are going to have a little look. Frenny down the inside of the kickstyle, but getting the move on the line is the man who once led this race, now in fourth position behind his teammate Arrow Knight, having to concede that position. They're single file through turn 2 as they rocket down into turn 3. No DRS on this opening lap. Looks like Mark is having a little look, as is the Alpine of Arrow Knight on the kicks out of Arrow Knight. Ted just having a little opportunistic look. He will be on likely the best tires on the grid. Can the Alpine grab a hold of a significant amount of points here this evening? That would certainly be what him and his team would love to see. Golden Sniper, I'm sure, watching this stream somewhere as he gets a little bit of oversteer at Alpine as he heads through the castle section now cautiously. Does Ted maybe inviting some pressure and losing touch as Arrow Knight has a moment. Arrow Knight into the wall almost if he didn't collect it at all. Arrow Knight, after starting in third, is all the way down into sixth. So this lead pack of 4 separating themselves, with Ted residing in 5th. Arrow Knight down to 4th place. We've got the Aston Martin as well, Mark, who is trying to chase down this field. The first recipient of the evening for a track limits penalty, so the first 3 seconds going to the Williams, who's looking to go wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin. Does he have the drag required to get the move done? Heading into turn 1 as they come across the line. Can Mark get the move done. He's going to have to contend with the kick Sauber in front as well. Down the inside of the Aston Martin he goes. Shermer getting the move done on the Aston Martin 2. Brick is having a little look at the Aston Martin, who continues to drop places. That's what happens when you don't turn your telemetry on. You make my life harder, and your life on track becomes that much harder as well. Continuing to drop through the field as Brick solidifying his 9th position. It's a little bit of a moment there. Is that Frenny and Tuesday maybe got a little tangled up. Frenny now dropping into 6th position. Tuesday as well down into 7th. As the lead, McLaren now has the lead of this race, and I do believe that's Pigeon again having a slide. As Frenny just having a little moment there on the entry of the corner. Not exactly sure what happened there. We didn't really have the best angle of it, but Tuesday and Shermer are going to be having to contend with Brick, who's on a man on a mission. Currently in 9th place, has a penalty to his name, but fresher tires than the 2 in front. We have a little look down the inside, not this time around. 7 now has the lead of this race, but missing some of his right front end plate, so he is really going to feel it through this section of track. Lucky to keep it out of the wall that time around. So easy with wing damage to struggle in that section of the track. You can see there the McLaren just catching and catching and catching. As Zodon maybe just had a little moment, and that is some McLaren wing that got collected. As Ted gonna have a little look for the lead. Not this time around. It's Ted into P2 for the Alpine. What a drive it is for the rookie in Tier 3. Can Ted maybe have a little look at the lead of this race? He's got DRS on 7 out front, but you see there just the drive from the Ferrari might be a little too much. Is Mark going to reinsert himself into the conversation for the win? At this time, at the moment, still residing in P4, still the fastest man on track. That fastest lap still in Williams' hands. As looks to go around the outside of the McLaren. That's a risky move, and it came with a significant amount of risk. They continue to bang wheels. A few more overtakes through the slow chicane, and you really got to question how desperate was the Williams on that occasion. You see here plenty more collisions at the back, single file. They all keep it nice and tidy, heading up the hill through the castle once more. 7, a 2-second lead out front just about. Is Mark going to have an invitation to retake what he will say was his earlier in the race? Meanwhile, there is a train forming behind the lead McLaren, who has a kick salvo. The Ferrari, the other kicks, at both kick salvos involved in this train. You have to imagine Aero Knight. You can see him there closing at a rate of knots as the kick salvo. Is he going to have the move done just after the detection zone? The Ferrari going to be filing through as well. Could it maybe be a second kick salvo that goes ahead and ruins the fun? As I believe Tuesday goes, somebody went into the pit lane. That is the now trailing McLaren. So there you have it. Ted under a significant amount of pressure from the Williams, who peels to the inside, rear wing wide open. Mark, easy as you'd like. The power of DRS getting him into 2nd position, and he can now chase down 7 for the race lead for the remaining 9 laps of this race. Frenny is now leading this train, but he's going to have an Alpine later on to contend with. 1.7 seconds and closing up the road, but he is going to bring a whole host of cars with him. Both kick salvos in a great position to score points here this evening. Brick and Aero Knight, can they work together to just get a good chunk of points for Panda's kick salvo? Team principal would love to see it here this evening. What can they do? Find success here around the streets of Baku, as Frenny has already caught the Alpine of Ted. I don't think those medium tires are working as much as they would have liked down at Alpine. Getting to the end may be a challenge for Ted, currently in 3rd position, but going to be under a load of pressure heading out of this section of track. You can see there's the grip still on the medium tires. But surely, with under 9 laps to go, it's going to be a long, long way to pull that medium tire. Mark as well, making inroads. We've got a move maybe for 10th position. The closest battle on track at the moment is where you see it. Between Mo and NASCAR Freak, but Ted's still holding off the pacey Ferrari behind him. 4th position, all that Rennie can do at the moment, as Aero Knight has maybe had yet another moment. We spoke all season about the ability that he has as the 2 kick Saubas go wheel to wheel. That's a risky move. The 2 teammates having a little look at each other, dueling it out. Here on lap number 18, they bang wheels, and both kick Saubas are going to tangle with each other. The McLaren involved as well. The Aston Martin saying, thank you very much, I'll benefit from this. We have a little look down the inside, not this time around. Tuesday, maybe just a man of fortune being involved in that conversation as they go single file. As, oh, a big shunt there. I believe that was Shermer that maybe collected a little bit of the wall through the castle section. Meanwhile, Ted is almost pushing this Alpine around the track with just 8 laps to go. Ted is not likely to hold on to a podium position here tonight. Frenny chasing him down through the quickest part of the track. Will he, under the power of DRS, be able to overtake the Alpine? All signs point to yes. We will have confirmation of it here shortly. Looking to the inside is the Ferrari. Move done well ahead of the corner. Covers off the racing line once more. And his 2 Ferraris back on the podium yet again. Ahead in a window. It got very, very hot in here as I've moved one of my monitors. We don't want to see that. You stay right where you are, please. Thank you very much. Safety car here on lap number 9. And you would have to imagine that this would benefit the likes of those who have made the wrong call on the medium tire. And they get into the pit lane and back out in a timely fashion, and doing so without losing too many places. Ted, if he pits now, he's probably going to be right at the back. But on the bright side, as it looks like we've lost Mo from this race, so there you go. That might have been the cause of the safety car. But nevertheless, you would have to assume that oh, that is not a penalty we want to see. The race leader, a drive-through penalty, speeding under the safety car, and already with damage. Baku, always a track that can provide you a moment anytime you want it, and this is one of them right here. 7. A huge mental error from the Ferrari, and is going to have to serve that drive-through penalty smack bang at the end of this race, and that may as well be race over for the Ferrari. And Mark is going to be in a great position to do something about it. See there the other Ferrari as well, for any both Ferraris missing front wing. 7 into the pit lane, and I don't know if he knows that he cannot serve that drive-through penalty under caution. He's not going to be able to serve his penalty. He's going to, I mean, he's pitted. He's got fresh tires on, but he's going to have to serve that penalty after the safety car goes in. So, yeah, you really wonder what was going through the mind of what is now the trailing Ferrari, and likely is going to be essentially the end of the charge for a double podium for the Ferraris. So go ahead and see what my notifications are. Life is good so far. Nevertheless, we really do hate to see it for 4-7. That is one of those that you just come up a little bit short. Nevertheless, back at the front, we've got one driver on the soft compound tire trying to go 6 laps on those. It's a bit audacious, but nevertheless, that's what happens when you don't turn your telemetry on. You make stupid decisions. Either way, both McLarens have essentially come out of nowhere, and courtesy of all the safety car chaos, have found a way to insert themselves both into the top 5. Tuesday, searching for his first podium in Tier 3. He would certainly love to take it home in chaotic fashion that Baku always seems to provide. For the 12 drivers remaining out of our 15 here this evening, points to everybody. You have survived this race. You just need to make the 90% point. You can carry on getting those points, but we're still waiting on the Red Bull of Pigeon to rejoin the field. And again, another chance for Pigeon to continue to make inroads in this race. However, we'll have to see if either Kick Sauber is able to regain what was once a beautiful position for their team, but tangling up just a few laps ago with each other has really cost them here in the late stages of this race as we carry on under safety car on lap number 21. The safety car likely to go in this lap, so it's essentially going to be a 5-lap shootout to the finish. You see there on the bottom of your screen, light rain potentially at the end of this race, but not likely to cause any problems. Still 15 minutes out, and if this race is still carrying on for another 15 minutes, then boy, did somebody do something wrong. Everyone in the top 10, bar one, hard compound tire fitted on their car currently. Likes of 7, likes of Ted, fresh hard compound tires for them with 7, that drive-through penalty. Shermer as well is going to have to contend with some fresh hards in front of him. We head through the castle forward the 21st time. Safety car here, our second of the evening. It was the incident with Mo crashing out here just a couple of laps ago. Here you go. Safety car in this lap. The Williams will lead out front. It was the McLaren earlier who started very early and left himself extremely vulnerable. Gave the entire field the slipstream down the straight. I would imagine that Mark will look to not replicate such a thing. Likely to drag this one all the way to the line is the Williams. He controls the pace of the field, and off he goes. So going early is the Williams, and electing to try to catch out the Ferrari of Frenny as the two McLarens behind, trying to have a little look at the Aston Martin. However, Mark still holding on to the lead. Tuesday having a little look at second place. NASCAR Freak as well is having a little bit of a look for third place, but it's the trailing McLaren who looks to try to have a look at the Aston Martin too far back on this occasion. Make any inroads. Ted as well, pitting under that safety car. Fresh hard tires. He is clear by far to go to the end of this race for Alpine. It'll be good points for them should he see it to the end here this evening. Mark has the opportunity to finally take home a win here tonight. It was round 1 where he had the lead for so long, but the pace of Capex in the wet weather undid his race, having to settle for just a podium finish. It was rough time in Catalonia, but he still has 4 laps and change to try and gain some time over this quick Ferrari behind him. Hicks, the third recipient of the evening of a 3-second time penalty, and I do believe as well that Mark has a 3-second time penalty as well. So go ahead, hold the phone. Mark needs to find a lot of time here in the last 4 laps. If that 3-second time penalty holds as it might, he really will be under threat here this evening. The race might just be settled on the timing sheets as the DRS now enabled once more in lap number 23. 4 laps to go here around the streets of the Azerbaijani capital. We've got a move for 4th position. Nothing happening just yet. NASCAR Freak able to just hold on at the moment. But Tuesday maybe just getting a little bit closer to the Ferrari, and 7 is he past the McLaren? He is past the McLaren. There you go. 7 up into 5th position. And what has been a disappointing race so far. He's going to have to serve that drive-through penalty at some point as well. So maybe just trying to a little bit of morale as he goes wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin. And again, that part of the track, seemingly an opportunistic move, but he might just be able to send it down the inside. A nice move there. It won't pay off too much in the end for car number 77. However, he's got that move done. A boost of confidence maybe for the Ferrari. Meanwhile, he will have to serve that drive-through penalty that looms large over his head here just momentarily. But Mark is really working hard to pull a 1-second gap to the Ferrari behind, but I don't think Frenny is going to allow that to happen. You see, just teetering on the edge of the 1-second gap, but Frenny getting just the drive he needs, or is it? 1.3 seconds, 1.4 seconds now. Frenny dropping very, very far back, and that could prove calamitous for the Ferrari as we head into the final few laps here. Is Tuesday going to have a look for 2nd place? He's having a little look around the outside and nothing doing this time around. Not to worry, he's got another DRS straight to contend with. Can the battle with the Ferrari maybe just pay dividends for the Williams out front? The McLaren just pushing the Ferrari through turn 2. Does he have the speed needed to get past? NASCAR Freak had a very good turn 2 and looks like he might just be gaining on the McLaren, but nothing doing this time around. Mark just about 2 seconds out front. And if he does have that 3-second time penalty, he will certainly be looking to do everything in the next 2.5 laps to clear it. Meanwhile, Brick Brown is trying to make moves on what is currently the trailing McLaren. Gives him a little bump through the chicane. Say, hello, I'm right here. Look in your rear view mirrors. They're full of kick Sauber green as things stand as we head up through the castle section for the 24th time. Just a couple laps to go. That gap out front, 2.1 seconds now and growing. Mark has found pace late in this race that he certainly didn't have before. Dropping through the field was the Williams, making amends to that at the perfect time at the tail end of the race. Brick Brown down the inside, collision there with the McLaren, and I do believe it's the kick Sauber that likely came off worse as he slots back in. It will be 10th now for Brick Brown on the tail of the Aston Martin. 2.5 seconds now is the gap from Mark to Frenny, and you just have to imagine, all right, he's got this gap. Is Frenny maybe just saving some of that battery that he has? However, if there is a race with the McLaren at the end here, he may need to exert some of that battery sooner than he would like, as we are on the penultimate lap here. Lap 25 of 26. Answers to all of our questions will be asked now, as I believe rain just now beginning to fall. You see just a little bit as Zonan has left the session, so the McLaren in 7th likely to be passed rather quickly here. There you see a few sprinkles of rain maybe beginning to take hold around the streets of Baku. It will certainly be treacherous conditions here. Go ahead and ride on board, and yeah, there you go. Some streaks of rain just now coming down on the visor of the Alpine. Everybody going to be tiptoeing around this circuit, but crucially out front, Mark has the 3-second lead that he needs. He's sliding a little bit. It's going to be a wet and wild finish to this one. How much rain comes down at the end of this race? 2 safety cars contributing to the rain taking hold here. As Freddie, with that wing damage, just cannot close in on a flying Williams out front. As we head on to what is just now the final lap of this race, Tuesday and NASCAR Freak are going to have a little bit of a battle. This is for the final podium spot. NASCAR Freak with that 3-second time penalty is going to have to contend with that at the end of the session. But down the inside goes the Aston Martin. Ted might be looking at an opportunistic move on the McLaren, not into turn 2, later on into turn 3. DRS still enabled. You see the wheel spin that the Aston Martin got out of turn number 2. That invites pressure from behind. Ted is past the McLaren. They're wheel to wheel. Outside line for the Aston Martin. Shown to the wall is the Alpine. And I'm sure some words will be said about that. Shermer in a great spot now. He's into the wall as well. There's collisions left, right, and center here on the final lap of this race. However, all eyes point to the front of the field. 9/10 is the gap needed for Mark to take home this victory. How much of that battery does the Ferrari of Freddie have? How much battery does Williams of Mark have? Can they keep it intact in what is becoming a very, very slick surface out there this evening? And Mark, as he heads through the final few corners, keep the car in one piece, drifting around turn number 14, rocketing down the hill towards turn 16. And Mark find the speed that he needs. This is going to be a very, very tricky part of the track here at the end of this race. Who has the confidence in their slick driving wet weather compound? It's going to be Mark by the looks of it. 3.7 seconds is the gap for the man that had the win ripped away from him in Austria. Didn't have it go his way in Spain. He wins here tonight around the streets of Baku. The winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Mark, takes it home for Williams. Frenny comes across the line. Schirmer up into third position. There you have it. A last lap move. The penalty to NASCAR Freaks certainly coming into play. 7. All the Ferraris did here this evening. It was looking like a strong 1-2 finish. But it will just have to be one Ferrari on the podium for the Italian outfit here this evening. 7 picking up that late drive-through penalty under the safety car was not meant to be for the McLarens. There you have it, the celebrations on the podium. Williams, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Schirmer getting a second podium here this evening, or this season rather, and doing it in crazy fashion. You really have to give your props to the guy. Coming from 14th position to finish on the podium around Baku, extremely difficult. He kept the car in a straight line. He kept the car on the track, kept it in one piece. By far, driver of the day to the Red Bull. But Mark, boy, was it a bit of a race of ups and downs for him. Emotional ride for the Williams man, but he gets his first win of the season, and in the absence of CapEx, that could prove pivotal in the drivers' standings as we head into week 4 next time out around the Bahrain International Circuit. We are headed to the Middle East for week number 4 next week. But for the time being, that is all I have for you as things stand. Thank you very much for watching. Until next week, same time, same place, around the circuit of Bahrain, we will see you then.